So let's move on to the first part of today's class. Let's start with this introduction for those of you who are just joining us afresh. What is IELTS all about? What does IELTS mean? IELTS basically stands for International English Language Test System. International English Language Test System. Okay? IELTS stands for what? International English Language Test System. Okay? That is the meaning of IELTS. And what is it about? It's an English proficiency test. Okay? English proficiency test that is used to rank your ability to communicate in English. Okay, to rank your English communication skills. So what happens is that the examiners or the owners of IELTS want to know how well you understand English. They want to know how well you can speak in what? How well you can speak in English. Okay, so they want to rank it. And the scale that IELTS uses is from band 1 to band 9. Okay, band 1 to band 9. The lowest score possible is band 1. The highest score possible is band 9.0. Okay, so somebody can get band 9.0, somebody can get band 8.5, somebody can get band 8.0. When I took my IELTS test, I got band 8.5 overall. I got band 8.5 overall. Okay, I've had a couple of students who have gotten band 8.5, and my prayer and my hope is that some of you in this group, or if possible, all of you in this group, will also get band 8.5 or even band 9.0. Make sure you are ready to put in the work. So they are ranking your ability to understand and communicate in English. So the test has 4 modules. Okay, 4 modules. The first part is called listening, or let's call it IELTS listening. Okay, this one assesses your listening skills, ability to hear what people are saying in English and to respond to whatever they are saying. The second module is called IELTS reading. Okay, this one involves ability to read and understand written documents. Things that have been written in what? Things that have been written in English language. The third module is called IELTS writing. Okay, this one tests your ability to write in good English. Okay, and then the last module is called IELTS speaking. This one tests your ability to what? To speak in what? Good English. Okay, so this listing, let's put it this way: ability to what? Hear and understand spoken English. So these are the 4 modules of IELTS. The two easiest modules are IELTS listening and IELTS speaking. Okay? The two easiest modules are IELTS listening and IELTS speaking. Those two are very, very easy to handle. Very easy to handle. The tough ones are IELTS reading and IELTS writing. Okay? IELTS reading can be very challenging for some people. IELTS writing can also be what? Can also be challenging for some people. Okay? But whatever the case, you need to what? Follow closely. Make sure you participate fully and engage fully in the classes. And understand the strategies and techniques that we're going to be sharing with you. I'm going to be teaching you lots of strategies and techniques that you can use when it comes to IELTS listening, strategies that you can use for IELTS reading, strategies for IELTS writing, and IELTS speaking. You understand? And after every class, like I said, you need to practice those strategies, apply those strategies so that what they can become parts of you. They can become automatic to you so that on the exam day, you just naturally apply those strategies in the exam hall, and then you're going to get a good result. Okay, so 4 modules. That's what this exam is about. And this is usually the order in which you will take the test. Okay, so if you are taking, okay, let me do this. Let me say another thing here. The test can either be paper-based or computer-based. Okay, so paper-based means that you are going to go to the exam center and the examiners will give you a question paper, a paper that contains the questions. Okay, you're going to see the question, they will give you the question paper and then they will give you the answer booklet. And then you are going to write down with a pen. You are going to write your answers down with a pen. That's what we call paper-based test. The other option is computer-based test. That one, you are going to go to the exam center and you will sit down in front of a computer, okay? And then you are going to read the questions on the computer and type your answer into the computer. That's computer-based. For computer-based, you are going to type your answers into the computer. You're going to type. I like to say that again. You are going to type. Okay, and I'm saying that not because I want to get you scared, but because I want you to know that if you can write, you can also type. Anybody who can write can type. Some people are scared of IELTS computer-based test. I don't know why. You shouldn't be scared of it. Okay, rather what you should do is go and get busy and get busy practicing and typing. That's it. Okay, so in Nigeria, the majority of you guys listening to this class here are in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, paper-based test is not available at the moment. Okay, paper-based test is not available at the moment in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria now is computer-based tests, CBT. Okay, so you need to what? You need to get yourself prepared for CBT. How? By practicing IELTS reading, IELTS listening, IELTS writing on computer. I'm going to show you some sites that you can use for that. I'm going to be showing you later on in the course of this class. So on the exam day, you most likely do listening first. After listening, you will now do reading, and then writing will be the last thing that you will do. That's the first part of the exam. That's the first part of what will be done on the exam day. And then after that, they will now take you to another room where you're going to do IELTS speaking. That's usually what happens. So it's either you do listening, reading, and writing first before you do IELTS speaking, or you do IELTS speaking first before you do listening, reading, and writing. I personally prefer that you do listening, reading, and writing first before you do speaking. I always prefer that you do speaking last, okay? So that the tension will not be too much whenever you are doing the listening, reading, and writing. Now, okay, what I want to do next is to show you the differences between IELTS Academic and IELTS General and to show you the similarities. And then we are going to go into the first part, that's IELTS listening. So what is IELTS General like? Let me show you. So here we have on the screen a sample of IELTS Academic and IELTS General. I'm going to show you. So this is Cambridge IELTS 12. So this is one of the series of textbooks, one of the series of practice tests that is widely used to prepare for IELTS. If you want to prepare for IELTS and you have not practiced with this series, with this Cambridge English series, you have not yet started. This is what you should start with because this is perhaps the most accurate practice test that you will see anywhere when it comes to preparing for IELTS. The passages are accurate, the answers are accurate, the chances of error are very, very minimal, almost close to zero. I'm yet to see a Cambridge IELTS textbook that has error in listening and reading answers. I'm yet to see one. Okay, so this textbook is very, very good, okay, for you to practice with. And the link, when I start sharing assignments with you and exercises for you to do, they are going to be exercises from this book. Okay, even though I'm not going to be sharing this book with you directly, what I'm going to be sharing with you is the website that contains questions from this book where you can practice questions on that website. You understand? Because the idea is to get you prepared for computer-based tests. So the exercises we will be sharing with you will be exercises that will allow you to practice on computer. You understand? I'll talk more about that later on. So this is Cambridge IELTS General. And then here is the partner, Cambridge IELTS Academic. Okay, now let's go to the first part, listening. Let's see whether there is any difference in the listening. Look at the listening here. Test 5, family excursion, right? This is IELTS Academic. Now let's check the general one. This is general. This is general. Look at it here. Can you see listening? Test 5. Can you see it's also the same test 5? Can you see the title? Family excursions. Cruise on a lake. Travel on an old steamship. Can take photos of the dash that's around the lake. Let's check the academic. What do we have there? It says that word. Can take photos of the dash that's around the lake. Can you see that it's the same question? Exactly the same question. That's what you're going to see. So for IELTS General and IELTS Academic, listening is the same thing. The people who do IELTS Academic and IELTS General, they are going to solve the same questions when it comes to what? IELTS listening. That's number one. Okay? Look at it. Let me show you another one. Look at section 2 of academic. Talk to new kitchen assistants. Look at the general. Can you see? Talk to new kitchen assistants. Can you see it's the same thing? It's the same thing. Okay? Now let's go to reading. Reading is the one that is now different. Look at the reading here. For this is IELTS General. Can you see section 1 reading? You can see the way the passage is. Question 1 to 8 for this particular passage. Now let's go and check the reading for IELTS Academic. Look at the reading for IELTS Academic. Reading passage 1. Can you see the passage? You can see that the passage looks longer for IELTS Academic. See this passage. That's page 1. This is page 2 here. Can you see that? And then you now have the questions. Can you see? But for IELTS General, let me show you. Look at IELTS General. Look at the passage here. The passage is just one page. Paragraph A to G. And then you have questions. Questions 1 to 8. And then you will have another passage. Another short passage. Okay? And then after that, you have some questions. That's IELTS General. So one difference that you will see when it comes to IELTS Academic and IELTS General is that what? In IELTS Academic, the passages are longer. But in IELTS General, the passages are shorter, especially for section 1 and section 2. So this is section 1 here for IELTS General. Can you see section 1 here? Section 1 has 14 questions. And this section 1 will have 2 passages. 2 short passages in section 1 of IELTS General. And then 2 short passages in section 2 of IELTS General. That's what you have. But in IELTS Academic, what you're going to have is what? 1 long passage in section 1. You can see the long passage here. The title of this passage is Cork, C-O-R-K. And then 1 long passage in section 2. That's IELTS what? IELTS Academic. So you see that. And then section 3 will have another long passage. That's IELTS Academic. IELTS General, section 3 of IELTS General will have 1 long passage. Let me show you the section 3. Look at the section 3 of IELTS General. Section 3, a brief history of automata. Look at it here. Can you see it's past page 1 and then this is page 2. And that's all. And then you move to the question. That's IELTS General. So for IELTS General, we are going to see section 1 having 2 short passages and then 14 questions. Section 2, 2 short passages with 14 questions. And then section 3, 1 long passage with what? 13 or 14 questions. But for IELTS Academic, all the 3 sections have what? All the 3 sections have long passages. Long passage in section 1 with 13 or 14 questions. Long passage in section 2 with 13 or 14 questions. Long passage in section 3 with 13 or 14 questions. Okay? So that's one of the differences that you would see when it comes to academic and general. Okay? But the thing is this. The question types that you will see in IELTS General, you will see them in IELTS Academic. The question types that you will see in IELTS Academic, you will see them in IELTS General. But there are some question types that you will see in academic, just 2 of them, okay, that are in academic that you will not see in general. And then there's 1 question type in general that you will not see in academic. I'm going to be talking about that when we get to IELTS reading. My focus today is not really on IELTS reading. My focus today is on IELTS listening and maybe IELTS speaking. So the point is that there are similarities. Okay, the similarity we have seen clearly that what IELTS listening and IELTS listening in academic is the same thing as IELTS listening in general. Okay, so today let's start out with IELTS listening. So we're going to be taking this class in three parts. I've already finished part one. Part one is basically to introduce our training and to introduce IELTS. Okay, and then part two is where I talk about IELTS listening, and I'm moving to part two now. And then part three, I'm going to talk about IELTS speaking. So, by the way, if you have any question, please feel free to drop your question in the Zoom chat. I'm going to attend to the question as soon as I can. If you have any question about anything that I'm saying, okay, that I'm saying during the course of the class, if anything comes to mind that you want to ask, just drop your question in the Zoom chat. I'm going to look at the question and I'll probably answer you immediately, or I will answer at the end of the class. It depends on the kind of question you are asking. Okay, so let me be sure you guys are still with me. Are you guys still with me? If you are still with me, let me know. I want you to drop a message and say, yes, I am with you. Yes, I am following you closely. Let me know who is still with me. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so let's talk about IELTS listening. What is IELTS listening all about? I've said something about it earlier on, but then let me go over it again. IELTS listening tests your ability to hear and understand what people are saying in English language. Okay? And your as well, let's put this, as well as your ability to answer questions based on what you are hearing. That's IELTS listening. They want to test your ability to what? To hear and understand what people are saying in English language. Let me put this hear and understand. Hear and understand what people are saying in English language, as well as your ability to what? Answer questions. Okay? So you see this answer questions and this issue of what? Hear and understand. They are extremely important. As you are listening to the speakers, you'll be answering questions. Okay? So IELTS listening has four sections. Section one will have one audio recording and 10 questions. Section two will have what? One audio recording and what? 10 questions. Section three will also have what? One audio recording and what? 10 questions. And then section four will have what? One audio recording and 10 questions. So we have a total of how many questions? A total of 40 questions. So what happens is that on the exam day, they're going to give you the headphones. Okay? That headphones is what you will use to hear the audio recording. That's what you will use to listen to the audio recording. And then the computer screen, you're going to be seeing the questions on the computer screen. So as you are listening to the audio, your job is to be answering the questions on the computer screen. For those who are doing paper-based, they will give you the headset and then they'll give you question paper. As you are listening to the audio recording, to the people talking in the audio recording, your job is to be answering the questions on the question paper. That's it. So section one will start, the audio recording will start playing. You listen, you answer questions one, answer number two, number three, number four, number five, number six, until you get to number 10. By the time you get to number 10, there will be a short pause. And then section two will start. That pause will last for about 30 to 40 seconds. And then section two will start. Audio recording for section two will start. Once it starts, start answering questions for section two. and then you answer 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way to 20. Like that until you finish all the four sections. So there are four sections. One, two, three, four. And each section has a what? Each section has an audio recording and 10 questions. Now, there are different question types. There are four different question types in IELTS listening. Okay, number one is called gap filling questions. This is like the easiest question type in IELTS listening, even IELTS reading. So we have what you call gap filling questions. Then we have what you call multiple choice questions. Then you have what you call matching questions. Then you have what you call map labeling questions. These are the four different question types that you will come across in IELTS listening. Okay, let me show you the question types. Let me show you the question types from the Cambridge booklet that I showed you earlier on. So look at this booklet here. So this is Cambridge IELTS 12, like I said earlier on. Cambridge IELTS 12. So question 1 to 10, usually, the usual common thing is that question 1 to 10 will usually be gap filling. Some people call it sentence completion. Look at this thing here. Complete the note below. Note completion. Or sometimes we call it sentence completion. So this is what? These are gap filling questions. That's the first type of question. You see gaps. So my job is to listen to the speakers, the people talking in the audio recording, and use the words that they say to fill these gaps. Okay? Then we have what you call multiple choice questions. These are multiple choice questions. You have a question, according to the manager, what do most people like about the job of kitchen assistant? So I need to pay attention and see, what does the manager say about what people like most? Is it the variety of work? Is it the friendly atmosphere? Is it the opportunity for promotion? What do they like? And then whatever the manager says will determine the option I will pick. If it's A, I will pick A. If it's B, I will pick B. If it's C, I will pick C. So if I say C is my answer, I will click C on my computer. You just click it on the computer. Or if you are doing paper-based, you just write C inside your answer booklet. Okay, so we call it what? We call this one multiple choice questions. Then here, 17 to 20, this is what we call matching questions. So usually for matching questions, you're going to have a box like this with some options. In this case, they've labeled the options responsibilities. And then you have a list. Here we have a list of names. So my job is to match the names to the responsibilities. In other words, what is Joy Parkins responsible for? Is Joy Parkins responsible for training courses, or is she responsible for food stocks, or is she responsible for first aid, or is she responsible for breakages? What is she responsible for? How do I know what she's responsible for? I need to listen closely to the audio recording. Pay attention to what the speaker says about Joy Perkins. Pay attention to what the speaker says about David Field. Pay attention to what the speaker says about Dexter Willis. And then pay attention to what he says about what? Mike Smith. Whatever they say will determine what I'm going to match them to in these boxes. So we call this one word matching questions. MATCHING. Okay? These are multiple choice questions. Then from number 31 to 40, multiple choice question. I'm sorry, gap filling questions for 31 to 40. Okay, there's no map labeling question here. Let me check the next set of listening. Let's check the next set of IELTS listening. Okay, there's no map here too. I want to show you map question so that you see what maps look like. And then we'll now go into, look at, okay, this is no map. Seems there is no map question in this particular series. All right, look at map here. This is an example of map labeling question. Look at it. Label the map below. Okay? Label the map below. So my job is to listen to the audio recording and label this map. So question 15, Reynolds House. As I'm listening to the audio recording, I need to listen for where the Reynolds House is located. Is it located at H, or is it located at I, or is it located at E or B or A or C or D? The speakers will describe where it is located. So my job is to follow the speaker and then pick the appropriate location. So if you think, based on what the speaker says, that if you think that the location of Reynolds House is D, then what you're going to do is what? You just write D as your answer for number 15. Okay? Next one is thumb. If you think the location of thumb is E, based on what the speaker says, then for number 16, you're just going to write. So those are the 4 question types. Okay? Gap filling questions, multiple choice questions, matching questions, and map labeling question. Somebody says, are they going to show up in IELTS General also? Yes. You are going to see map labeling in IELTS General. This map that you're seeing here now, you will also see it in IELTS General. Multiple choice questions, you will see it in IELTS General. Matching questions, you're going to see it in IELTS General. What else? Gap filling questions, you will see it in IELTS General. Okay? So you need to be prepared for all of them. Now, let's talk about how to handle questions in IELTS listening. There are different strategies and techniques that you must learn to apply when it comes to solving questions in IELTS listening. Okay? I'm going to show you the strategies and then we're going to apply them. The first strategy is what I call identifying and listening for signposting words. That's strategy number 1. Okay? Let me put a number to it here. Number 2 is what I call notes taking. Number 3 is what I call elimination. Number 4 is what I call squashing distractions. Number 5 is what I call self-correction. And number 6 is what I call intensive daily practice. Okay? These are the 6 tools, major tools that you must apply if you want to get a high band score in IELTS listening. Okay? These 7 tools or these 6 tools are extremely important. Okay? And I'm going to be talking about them during the course of this training. I may not cover everything today, but if I don't cover everything today, in our next class, we're going to address the remaining. Now, let's talk about this issue of signposting words. Let me show you what I mean by signposting words, and then we're going to treat one example. So, what are signposting words? Signposting words basically are words that are on the question paper that the speakers will mention. Okay? Signposting words are what? They are words that are on the question paper that the speakers will mention. And once the speaker mentions those words, you know that the answer to your question is about to show up. So if you look at this question that we have on the screen now, I hope you guys are seeing the screen. Let me know. Can you see the questions on the screen? Cycle tour leader, applicant inquiry. If you can see, let me see your message. Let me get some feedback. Let me be sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. All right. Thank you very much. So you are going to see questions like this, and your job is to take some time to study the question. Study the questions before the audio recording starts. So if you want to identify signposting words, you look out for verbs, adverbs, adjectives, nouns. What are nouns? What is a noun? What is a noun? From our high school days, some of us should still remember A noun is a name of an animal, place, or thing. Okay, for example, Margaret, that is the name of a person. Name of a person, that's a noun. Okay, leader, that is a noun. A leader refers to the name of a person. Do you understand now? Wants a job. Job is a noun. Job is what someone the things that you do, the thing that you do for a living. That's your job. Okay? So a noun can act as a word, signposting word. A verb, what are verbs? Verbs are action words. For example, will soon start work. Start is a verb. That's a very important signposting word. Okay? Has led cycle trips. Led, this is a word. This is a verb. Okay? Led cycle trip. Is currently doing voluntary work. Doing voluntary work, that's a kind of the combination of many words that act as verb, that act as a verb. Doing voluntary work with members of a dash club. Okay? So you identify signposting words on your question paper. Why? Because when the speaker starts talking, they're going to mention those signposting words. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play the audio recording for this set of questions now. And I'm telling you now that the speaker is going to mention this word, want. He's going to mention want. He's going to mention job. Is it that they will mention this exact word, want, or they will use a paraphrase? What's the meaning of paraphrase? A synonym. If somebody says she wants a teaching job, let me use the word, or let's use plumbing. Let's use plumbing. She wants a plumbing job. Instead of saying she wants a plumbing job, what else can I say instead of saying she wants a plumbing job? I can say that she is considering a plumbing job. It's the same thing that I have said. She wants a plumbing job. She is considering a plumbing job. Those two sentences mean the same thing. She wants, she's considering. That's paraphrasing. That's paraphrasing. So sometimes they might not use the exact words on the question paper. They might use paraphrases. They might use synonyms. So you also need to be able to listen for the paraphrases of those words, of those signposting words. You must learn to listen for what? Listen for the paraphrases of those signposting words. So your first duty in preparing for this exam, this listening, is that you must learn how to listen for signposting words. Learn how to identify signposting words on the question paper and then listen for those signposting words once the audio recording starts. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to play the audio recording for this particular set of questions, and then we're going to try and answer it.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work.
Can you guys hear the white man talking?
Will be played once.
If you can hear the white man talking, let me know. Can you hear the native speaker talking? I hope you can distinguish my voice from the man's voice. Okay. Very good. My voice doesn't sound like the voice of a native speaker. Okay. Now, and you are hearing exactly what he's saying. You are hearing his words. I believe you are hearing his words. If you are not hearing everything, some people will say that they can't hear everything. It sometimes happens. So the idea is that if you are finding it difficult to hear everything that the speakers are saying, then you need to work on improving your listening skills. And how do you do that? You expose yourself to lots of English speakers, native speakers. Listen to their conversations over and over and over and over until your ears get attuned to how they talk. That's how to overcome that challenge. So let me continue with the audio recording, and then when it gets to the point of signposting words, I'm going to pause and then say one or two things again.
Only. The test is in 4 sections.
Test is in 4 sections.
At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet.
Let me say something about that, what the man said. He said that at the end of the section, at the end of the test of the 4 sections, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. That thing that he said is only applicable for paper-based IELTS. Okay? It doesn't apply for computer-based IELTS. So for paper-based IELTS, usually what they expect you to do is to first write your answers inside your question paper. Okay? And then at the end of the 4 sections, you will now transfer your answers from the question paper to the answer sheet. That is what happens with paper-based. Okay? But for computer-based, you will not be allowed to write anything on any paper when it comes to IELTS listening. Okay? You'll not be allowed to write answers on the question on any paper. What you are going to be doing is that you are going to be typing your answers straight into the computer. You'll be typing your answers straight into the computer. If you insist that you want to write on paper and then you want to transfer to the computer later, you will not finish that listening. That's the problem. You are not going to finish it. You will not finish it. Why? Because once the section 4 ends on the computer will automatically switch to reading. And then you will be waiting to type something in the computer, but the computer has moved to reading. So you don't want to do that, make that mistake. You don't want to make that mistake. So as you are answering the questions for IELTS listening, just be typing your answer straight into the computer. Be typing straight into the computer. Don't wait until the end to say that you want to transfer from paper to computer. That's a complete waste of time that can result in a very, very terrible score. When I say terrible, I'm talking about band 2 or band 3. And it's not because you don't hear anything. It's because you refuse to type into the computer. So please, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answer. It's not for people that are doing computer-based. Hope you understand my point. It is for people that are doing paper-based IELTS. Now let's continue. Let's listen to the speaker.
Now turn to section 1.
Now turn to section 1. So this is our section 1 on the screen here. The cycle tour leader. Applicant inquiry.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a woman who is looking for a job and a man from a company that organizes cycling holidays.
Cycling. Can you see cycling?
You have some time to look at questions 1 to 6.
So you see, and then there is a pause. You have some time to look at question 1. So you can see that this audio is silent now. It's going to be silent like this for about 30 seconds. They say that you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. So the question is what am I supposed to do during that time? Your job is to take time to study question 1 to 6 and identify signposting words. Identify signposting words for question 1. Job for me, the signposting word is job. For question 2, soon start work. Those are my signposting words. Lead cycle trips. Those are my signposting words for question 3. Question 4, currently, voluntary work. Club. Those are my signposting words. Question 5, available for 5 months from the 1st of 5 months is my signposting word here. Okay? Question 6, can't eat. Can't eat. Can't eat. Those are my signposting words. So I've identified my signposting words. They've registered in my mind. Once the speaker start talking, I will now listen for those signposting words and I will use them to track down the answer.
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you.
An example has been done for us. That's Margaret Smith.
On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Okay.
Hello, Pembroke Cycling Holidays. Bob speaking.
Oh, hello. I've seen your advert for people to lead cycle trips. Are you the right person to speak to?
Yes, I am. Could I have your name, please?
It's Margaret Smith.
Can you see Margaret Smith?
The woman's surname is Smith. So Smith has been written in the space.
I see. Margaret Smith. Smith has been written in the space.
Now we shall begin.
That's how you write your answers. Now let's pay close attention.
You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time.
Can you hear that? You will not hear the recording a second time. So on the exam day, you will not be able to replay and rewind. Now, as you are practicing and preparing for the exam, you can rewind and replay. You understand? It's possible to rewind and replay now. But on the exam day, you won't be able to do that. So the ideal thing is that you need to practice and get to a point where you are able to pick your answers without rewinding and replaying. That's the goal. That's your goal. That's where you want to get to. You want to get to a point where you are able to what? To pick the answer without having to rewind and replay. That's where you want to get to. But at the initial stage, as a starter, as a beginner, that might be difficult. So if you're having difficulties with that, feel free to rewind and replay. I tell you, feel free to rewind and replay. When I first started doing IELTS, before I took my test, I used to rewind and replay a lot. I used to do that. But eventually I got to a point where I didn't need to do that again. And I got band 9.0 in my IELTS listening. 9.0 in IELTS listening. Do you understand? So it's a stage by stage thing. All right. So it tells us that what we should listen, we not have the chance to rewind. That's one thing that we need to keep in mind for the exam day. Now let's continue the recording.
Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Questions 1 to 6. Okay.
Hello, Pembroke Cycling Holidays. Bob speaking.
Oh, hello. I've seen your advert for people to lead cycle trips.
Okay.
Are you the right person to speak to?
Yes, I am. Could I have your name, please?
It's Margaret Smith.
Margaret
Are you
Smith.
looking for a permanent job, Margaret?
No, temporary. I've got a...
Can you see that? She said, are you looking for a permanent job, Margaret? Permanent job. Can you see job? He has mentioned job. Are you looking for, can you see paraphrasing here? Instead of saying, do you want a permanent job? He said, are you looking for, that's a paraphrase for want. And the woman said, no, temporary. So the answer to number 1 is going to be what? Temporary. She wants a what? Temporary job. So what will I do? I will just write temporary as my answer here. Temporary. Temporary. That's my answer to what? That's my answer to number 1. Temporary. Can you see that? That's what I'll write in the gap. Okay? Now, I've picked my answer to number 1. I've written my answer for number 1. The next one I need to listen for now is what? Number 2. They are not going to jump from number 1 to number 6. The speaker will never jump from number 1 to number 6. The speaker will not jump from number 1 to number 3. He won't even jump from number 1 to number 3. The next thing he will talk about is number 2. After number 2, the next thing will be number 3. After number 3, the next thing will be number 4. So the answers, the audio recording will follow that order that you have on the question paper. You understand? So they are not jumping from one question to a question that is far away. No. Okay? So what thing that tells you is that what? If you are doing IELTS listening, okay, let me show you one strategy now here. If you are doing IELTS listening and you realize that the speaker is talking and talking and talking, and then suddenly you hear currently working voluntarily with members of a club, with members of a health club, that tells you that the speaker has reached number 4. What it basically means is that you did not hear the answer to number 2. You did not hear the answer to number 3. The man has talked about it. That's what it means. So what you need to do is that if you are practicing, you need to just rewind that audio and pay closer attention so that you can pick the answer to number 2 and number 3. You understand now? So it's not possible for them to jump to a question that is far away. It's not possible. Okay? I think that addresses a question that somebody is asking. Now let's go on.
Permanent job starting in a few months' time, and I want to do something else until then.
So she said that she has a permanent job starting in a few months' time. I'm guessing that's going to be, it's sounding like number 2, but let's continue. I want you guys to listen closely. I want you guys to pick the answer for number 2. I'm not going to, let me allow you pick that one. Let me rewind a little bit. I want you to listen closely, and then you tell me the answer for number 2. Okay?
I've got a permanent job starting in a few months' time, and I want to do something else until then.
What work do you do?
This will probably sound crazy. I used to be a lawyer, and then I made a complete career change, and I'm going to be a doctor. I've just finished my training.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what is the answer to number 2 based on what she said? What is the answer to number 2? Who can tell me? What is the answer to number 2? Okay, I can see doctor, doctor, doctor. How come she mentioned lawyer now? I thought she said I used to be a lawyer. Why is lawyer not the correct answer? Anybody? Why is lawyer not the correct answer? She said, I used to be a lawyer. That's past. That's past tense. I used to be a lawyer. Thank you. That was a previous job. I used to be a lawyer. So if you write lawyer here, you have written the wrong thing. That thing is what we call distraction. The speakers in IELTS listening, they use lots of distractors. They will tell you something that sounds like the answer. They will first of all tell you something that sounds like the answer. Then they will now tell you the correct answer. If you are not following closely, you will end up writing that wrong thing. Just like this woman did now. She said, I used to be a lawyer. And then I made a complete career change, and then now I'm going to become a doctor. So our answer to number 2 is going to be what? Doctor. So what will I write in gap 2? I'm going to write what? Doctor. I want you to take note of how I wrote my answer. Okay? This thing I'm writing here is what we call sentence case. Is it that you write your answer this way, sentence case, or you just write your answer in capital letter? Okay? This is correct. If you write your answer this way, this is wrong. Why? Because doctor is not a proper noun. You cannot start doctor with capital D in the middle of a sentence. In the middle of a sentence, you cannot start anything with a capital letter, except if that thing is a proper noun. Okay? So you cannot write capital D for doctor. You cannot write capital T for temporary job. So it's either you write it exactly as I've written it. We call it what? Lowercase or sentence case. Or you write all your answers in capital letter. You can write all your answers in IELTS listening and IELTS reading in capital letter. So that's important to take note of. I want you to take note of that. Let's play the audio and then let's just answer one more question, and then we're going to move to another question type.
Right. And have you had any experience of leading cycle trips?
Yes, I've led several bike tours in Africa. The trip to India that I had arranged to lead next month has now been cancelled. So when I saw you were advertising for tour leaders, I decided to apply.
Okay. Now we normally have 2 or 3.
So who can tell me the answer to number 3? Did you pick it? Were you able to pick it before the glitch? Let me know. Who was able to pick the answer to number 3? Has led cycle trips in dash.
To India that I had arranged to lead. Yes, I've led several bike tours in Africa.
I've led several bike tours in Africa. Can you see? I've led, can you see? Signposting word, the verb. Several bike, a paraphrase for cycle. Trips, paraphrase for tour. In Africa. Now, for this case, you can write capital A for Africa because Africa is a proper noun. A-F-R-I-C-A, that's correct. If you write small a, this is wrong. Africa is a proper noun, so you cannot write small a. That's what I said earlier on. Okay? For proper nouns, you can start with capital letter. But for words that are not proper nouns, you should start with what? Small letter. If you are writing in the middle of a word, of a sentence. So that's gap filling question. Okay? You're going to see this question type show up in section 1 of IELTS listening. You are going to see it in section 4 also. Okay? Section 4 also. Now, let's look at another question type. We'll call it multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions. Look at multiple choice questions here. So let's solve this set of questions. So for multiple choice questions, there are 3 strategies that you can use. Okay? 3 strategies that you can use. The first one is called note taking. In other words, you write down some notes as you are listening to the speakers. you write down some notes and you write speedily, quickly.
Section 2.
Okay? That's notes taking.
You will hear a
This-
podcast about an area called the sheep market.
The second method is what we call elimination. In other words, as the speakers are talking, listen closely and eliminate the wrong answers. Okay? Listen for what the speaker says about the first option, and if it doesn't sound like it's correct, eliminate it. Listen close to what the speaker says about the second option. If it doesn't sound like it, eliminate. Listen close to what the speaker says about the third option. If it doesn't sound like it, definitely one of them will sound like it. Okay? Now, let me say something here about multiple choice questions. When the speaker start talking, it's possible that the speaker will first of all talk about option C, or the speaker will mention something that is in option C, and then he will jump to option A, and then he will come to option B. So here, they can jump from option to option, but the speaker will definitely talk about number 11 before he moves to number 12. When he moves to number 12, it's possible that he will talk about option B, mention something in option B, and then come to option A, and then come to option C. Okay? So they can jump from option to option when it comes to what? Multiple choice questions. Your job is to make sure that what? You look closely at the word options and use the signposting words in the options to track your answer. Now, let me play the audio and then we're going to take it up from there. I want you to listen closely as the speaker
In a
talks.
New Zealand city. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14.
11 to 14. So what do we do during that time? Identify signposting words in the question and the options. Rapidly growing group is a keyword for me here. Rapidly growing group of residents, young professional, students, university, employees, okay? The speaker recommends the side streets in the sheep markets for their international restaurants, historic buildings, art and crafts, okay? Clothes designed by the entrance for the young fashion competition must be okay, molded by the designers themselves.
Now listen
Okay,
carefully.
now let's listen.
Answer questions 11 to 14.
11 to 14.
Welcome to this podcast about the sheep market, which is one of the oldest parts of the city.
Can you hear that? Which is one of the words? Let me see whether you picked that. The last thing that he said. Which is one of the dash parts of the city? What did he say? One of the dash parts of the city. Who heard that? Let me be sure you guys heard it. Which is one of the dash parts of the city? Thank you. One of the oldest parts of the city. You guys are good though. You are hearing the native speakers very well. I'm happy. So, which is one of the oldest parts of the city? Very good. Let's go on. So, it's talking about sheep market area. That's a part of a particular city. Let's go on.
As its name suggests, there was originally a market here where farmers brought their sheep, but now it's been redeveloped into a buzzing, vibrant area of the city, which is also home to one of the city's fastest growing communities.
Which is also home to one of the city's fastest growing communities. Can you see? Rapidly growing group. Can you see paraphrasing? Now pay close attention. It's about to mention things here.
The nearby university has always meant the area's popular with students who come in to enjoy the lively nightlife. But now graduates embarking on careers in the worlds of fashion and design are buying up the new apartments recently built here to replace the small houses where the market workers used to live. The narrow old side streets are a great place.
Ladies and gentlemen, who can tell me the answer to number 11? He has mentioned it already. Did you pick it? Were you able to pick the answer to number 11? Let me know. Who picked it? Okay, let me see. Some people are saying B, C, A. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewind the audio a little bit. And then I'm going to show you, I want to show you something that is happening here.
Apartments recently built here to replace the small houses where the market workers live. But now graduates and has always meant the area's fastest growing communities. The nearby university has always meant the area's popular with students who...
The nearby university, that's option C. So he mentioned university. But what did he say about university? don't just say that because you mentioned university, you now pick option B. That's the mistake that some people make. He said the nearby university has always made the area popular. Let me rewind that a little bit and then you listen again.
The area is popular with students. The nearby university has always meant the area is popular with students who.
As the nearby university has always made the area popular with students. Can you see that? Now pay close attention.
Come in to enjoy the lively nightlife. But
what is the meaning of but? Whenever you hear but, what does that mean? That means that what I just said now is not as important as what I'm about to say. That's the meaning of but. If somebody looks at you and says, I love you, but will you still pay attention to the I love you? You will forget it and listen to what he wants to say next now. Don't say, I love you, but. No. That I love you, just keep it somewhere. Let me hear the but that you want to but. It's the but that is more important. So the man said that the university, whatever, has been popular with students, something like that. He now said but. So you need to pay attention for the but. So listen closely now, everybody.
Come in to enjoy the lively nightlife. But now graduates embarking on careers in the worlds of fashion and design are buying up the new apartments recently built here to replace the small houses where the market workers used to.
Graduates embarking on what?
Are buying up the new apartments recently. Now graduates embarking on careers in the worlds of.
Graduates embarking on career. Can you see option A showing up here? Paraphrased. Graduates embarking on career in the world of what? Fashion are buying up the new apartments. Apartment is where the residents, that's where they want to be living. So that's telling me that what? Option A is going to be our answer. Option A is going to be the most appropriate answer for this question. That option B is a trap. Option C is also not correct. Option C is also not correct. I can see somebody writing A and B. You cannot write two answers. It's only one answer that you can write. You cannot write A and B. Not possible. Okay. So what have I done here? I've paid close attention to hear what the speaker says about each of the options, or the keywords, the signposting words in each of the options. And I use that word to track down my answer. Okay, let's do number 12.
Fashion and design are buying up the new apartments recently built here to replace the small houses where the market workers used to live.
Okay.
The narrow old side streets are great places for finding original pictures, jewelry, and ceramics which won't break the bank.
Aha, number 12. He has said something about number 12. Oh. Let me rewind and listen. I want you to pick the answer for number 12. Listen closely, everybody.
Streets are great places for finding original apartments recently built here to replace the small houses where the market workers used to live. The narrow old side streets are great places for finding original pictures, jewelry, and ceramics which won't break the bank, as well as local produce like fruit and vegetables.
So what is the answer to number 12? He has mentioned it. Who can tell me? What is the answer to number 12? Anybody? What is the answer to number 12? Let me see. Number 12. B. How come you are picking B? Are you picking B because somebody else picked B? It's not B now. He did not measure anything about historical buildings. Listen again, everybody.
As well as local produce like fruit and jewelry and ceramics. The narrow old side streets are great places for finding original pictures.
Great place for finding what? Original pictures. Which one of these options sounds like original pictures? Original pictures,
jewelry, and ceramics which won't break them.
And ceramics. What does that sound like here? That's option C. My answer to number 12 is going to be option C, arts and crafts. Can you see paraphrasing? Synonyms and paraphrasing. That's what you should expect in IELTS. IELTS listening, IELTS reading, expect lots of what? Paraphrasing. You understand?
Bank. As well as local produce like fruit and vegetables.
Somebody says, but you mentioned fruit and vegetables. Yes, that's not option A. Option A is international restaurant. International restaurants is different from fruits and vegetables. As a matter of fact, he said local produce. As well as local produce like fruit and vegetables. International is not local. Okay, let's go on.
There's also lots of pavement cafes where you can have a coffee and watch tourists from all over the world go by.
Okay.
The oldest buildings in the area are on the main streets, including the city's first department store, built in the 1880s, which is still open today. The sheep market is a centre for fashion, and there's a policy of encouraging new young designers. The Young Fashion Competition is open to local young people who are passionate about fashion.
Okay.
This year, they've been asked to design an outfit based on ideas from the music and technology that's part of their everyday life, using both natural and man-made fibres. The garments will be judged by a panel of experts and fashion designers, and the winning entries will be modelled at a special gala evening.
Okay.
Parking at the sheep market.
So for number 13, who can tell us? What is the answer to number 13? Anybody who was able to pick that? Who was able to pick number 13? B. B. Ah, you guys, are you sure it's B? Let us rewind and be sure. Let's listen closely, everybody.
And the winning entries will be judged by a panel of experts and fashion designers, and the winning entries will be the garments will be judged by a technology that's part of their everyday young people who are passionate about fashion.
Okay.
This year, they've been asked to design an outfit based on ideas from the music and technology that's part of their everyday life, using both natural and man-made fibres. The garments will be judged by a panel of experts and fashion designers, and the winning entries will be modelled at a special gala evening.
The winning entry will be modeled at a special gala evening. So that option A is out. He did not mention modeled by the designers themselves. He didn't mention that. He mentioned modeled. Option A is out because of this thing. Option C is also out. Why? Because he did not, this issue of locally produced. He said both natural and man-made material. That's what he said. Both natural and man-made material. Option B is going to be the correct answer. He said that, okay, there's a paraphrase that he used there. I can't remember now. Let me rewind a little bit.
The garments will be judged by a panel of experts from the music and technology that's part of their everyday life.
Aha, music and technology that's part of their everyday life. That's it. That's option B. They must be inspired by, let me pull it back a little bit.
And technology that's part of their, based on ideas from the music.
Based on ideas. Yeah, that's what he said. Based on ideas that is from music and technology. That's culture. When you say culture, culture includes dressing, culture includes music, culture includes what's it called? Greeting. So many, our way of life, that's culture. Everyday life. So that's option B. So number 13 is going to be what? It's going to be B. There's a lot of paraphrasing for this particular question 13. So can you see what is happening here? That's how we are dealing with what? Multiple choice questions in IELTS listening. This is the same approach that we use for what? Matching questions. See matching questions here. Matching questions here. But let's deal with map labeling. Look at map labeling questions here. Let me show you. Let's deal with this map labeling question. Let's deal with this map labeling question. It's going to move to this audio now. This is question 15.
20. To 20.
The sheep market is one of the main centres for art and history in the whole of the country. If you look at our map, you'll see some of the main attractions there. Most visitors start from Crawley Road at the bottom of the map. The Reynolds House.
So let me quickly explain or show you how to deal with map labeling questions. How do we deal with map labeling questions? There are two things that we do here. There are two things that we use here. Number one is what I call visualization. That one involves using your imagination. And then number two involves using direction markers. Okay, in fact, three things. Visualization, direction markers, and signposting words. So for a map, one of the things you will notice is that for a map in IELTS listening, some parts of the map would have been labeled. For example, they have labeled bank, they have labeled Station Square, they have labeled Crawley Road, they have labeled City Road, they have labeled Public Gardens, they have labeled Hill Road. All these parts of the map that have been labeled, they are your signposting words. So during that short break that they will give you to look at question 15 to 20, they will tell you, first of all, you have some time to look at question 15 to 20, and then there will be a pause. During that short period of looking at question 15 to 20, Don't look at this list here. That's not what you should be looking at. What you should be looking at is the map. Look at the map and look at the labeled parts. Station Square. Know where it is located. Crawley Road, City Road, Public Gardens. You are to look at the map. The speaker said, look at question 15 to 20. Don't follow him. He's deceiving you. The speaker should have said, look at the map. I'm telling you now, that's what you should do. Okay? Look at the map and identify the labeled parts and the parts that look strange. For example, you can see this thing here. Can you see that it's looking abnormal? Those are things that you take note of during that short break. You take note of those things. Bank, Station Square. Look at this one too. This place looks like a dead end, like a close, like Charles Taylor close or Donald Trump close. There's no road after this place. Those are things you look out for. You study the map. And then when the speaker start talking about the question, you cannot start looking at the question. So the first thing the speaker will talk about is going to be Reynolds House. Okay? Now, let me say another thing here. You must learn to use your imagination. Imagine that you are in this location, that you are on Crawley Road. So usually the speakers will start from a labeled part. Is it that for this particular audio recording now, is it that the speaker will start at Crawley Road or the speaker will start at City Road? That's the most likely thing. Usually on the map, they will start at a place somewhere around the bottom or somewhere at the top or somewhere on the right side or somewhere on the left side. That's the common thing I've noticed with IELTS listening. Okay? So for this case now, for this particular map, Crawley Road is labeled. So it's likely they will start from here or they will start from City Road. There's nothing on the left side. There's nothing on the right side. So it's like, is that going to be Crawley Road or City Road? They will mention it. The speaker will mention it. And once he mentions it, what should you do? Your eyes should come straight to this place. And then you should begin to follow the speaker. You're going to see me. I'm going to be moving this red pointer as the speaker is talking. And I'm going to use it to track down Reynolds House. That's how we use our imagination and direction markers. So if the speaker says, starting from Crawley Road, you move towards City Road. That means I'm going to move my marker this way. And I'm going to move into City Road. And then if it says, the first building, the first turning to the left, the first turning to the left after Public Gardens. This is Public Gardens here. That means I will come after Public Garden. What is the first turning? That's going to take me into what? Hill Road. First turning to the left. That's the first turning to the what? To the left. This is my left. If I'm standing on City Road and I'm going in this direction, what is on my left? E, B, Hill Road, Public Gardens. All these things are on my left. I hope you guys are getting my point. Let me know if you guys are hearing. If you can hear me, let me see your message. Let me be sure you guys are following me. If you are following me, let me see your message. Just type, yes, I am with you. All right. Thank you very much. So let me ask a question. Let me ask a question, everybody. If I stand at point A, and I'm facing this, let me draw something here. If I stand at point A and I'm facing this green bush, let's call this place a bush, this green stuff that I'm drawing, okay? So if I'm standing at point A and I'm facing this green bush, what is on my left? What is on my left? Is it the bank that is on my left or is it Hill Road? What is on my left? Who can tell me? Anybody? What is on my left? Thank you. It is the bank. The bank is on my left. So that's direction. You must be able to use the idea of direction correctly. To the left, to the right, they're going to say words like that. Across the road, next to, just before. Those direction markers are extremely important for you to what? Get a hold of. Now, let's play the audio recording and then we'll try and answer this question before we round up today.
It's on the north side of Crawley Road. Houses in the city and is open to the public.
Okay?
It's on the north side of Crawley Road. If you look at our map, you'll see some of the main attractions there. Most visitors start from Crawley Road at the...
Can you see that? Most visitors start from where? Crawley Road at the bottom of the map. That's what the man is saying now. Now, let's go on.
bottom of the map. The Reynolds House is one of the oldest houses in the city and is open to the public. It's on the north side of Crawley Road.
He said it's on the north side. What is the meaning of north side? That means, let me draw north side for you. By saying it's on the north side, what the man is saying is that what? Crawley Road is located within this area to the north. This thing I have circled in color green. In fact, everything, even up to the top, everything is in the north side of Crawley Road. Everything in color green, yeah. Everything in color green is north side of Crawley Road. There's nothing, this place here, let me change the color. This place in color red is the south of Crawley Road. This place that I'm putting in color red, you can see that there's nothing there. There's nothing on the south side of Crawley Road. What of the east? There's really nothing on the east. And there's nothing on the west. So the entire map is on the north side of Crawley Road. Hope you get my point. Let me clean these drawings and continue the audio recording.
Next to the footpath that leads to the public, Reynolds House is one of the oldest houses in the city and is open to the public. It's on the north side of Crawley Road.
Okay.
Next to the footpath that leads to the public gardens.
Next to the footpath that leads to the public gardens. What does that mean? Who can tell me the answer? Next to the footpath that leads to the public gardens. So what is the answer to that? Anybody? Thank you. The answer is H. The answer is H. Who can tell me why is it not I? Why is it not I? I is also beside the public gardens now. The reason why it is not I is because there is no footpath connecting I to public gardens. But if you stand at H, you can see that there's a footpath here. See a footpath here. This thing here is the footpath. Next to the footpath that leads to the public garden. So this is the footpath they are referring to. Then that means this is what? Crawley Road. So my answer to number 15 is going to be what? My answer to number 15 is going to be H. So I'm just going to write H in my book, or I'm going to click H on the computer. Or I'll click H on the computer. Let's do number 16. Let's do number 16.
The area is particularly interesting for its unusual sculptures. The thumb is just what its name suggests, but it's about 10 meters high. You'll see it on Hill Road, across the road from the bank. The museum's...
Hill Road, across the road from the bank. That's the location of the thumb. So what is the answer to thumb? Anybody who can tell me what is the answer to the thumb? What is the answer to the thumb? C. Thank you very much. Across the road from the bank. Why is it not A? Who can tell me why it is not A? A is also, I mean, you can see A is see the bank here, see A here now. Why is it not A? Who can tell me why it is not A? Why is A wrong? Why is A wrong? Anybody? A is not across the road from the bank. Thank you. A is beside the bank. A is, you can say A is beside the bank, or A is the next building to the bank. C is across the road from the bank. You know, when you are going somewhere and you need to cross the road, that means you are going to the other side of the road. That's what's happening here. If you're in the bank and you want to go to C, you are going to need to cross the road. That's why they say across the road. But if you want to go to A, you don't need to cross any road. So A is not across the road. You are not crossing the road to go to A from the bank. So A is not across the road. The one that is across the road is C. So the answer to number 16 is going to be C. All right. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to drop the link to this particular test in the group, in the WhatsApp group. That's going to be our assignment for today. I need to round up now. I hope you guys have learned something today. So I've talked about IELTS. I've introduced IELTS afresh for those of you who are just joining us for the first time. And then I've talked about the different strategies for dealing with questions in IELTS listening. I've talked about the different question types. I've taught you about gap filling questions. I've taught you about multiple choice questions. And I've talked about what? Map labeling questions. So I'm going to share the recording to this lesson again in the group so that I can go through it again. I will also share some recordings to some lessons on map labeling so that I can understand that better. And then I will share an exercise on, I will share a link to a full listening test for you to do. That's going to be your assignment for today. For those of you who are just joining us, remember what I said, that there will be assignments every day. There will be if you don't do any other thing, there will be listening assignments every day, every day, every day. That's part of our preparation. That's part of our drill. So prepare yourself. Your target is to solve a minimum of 60 full listening tests before your exam day. That's the target. That's the target we give to our students, 60. So get ready for serious work. Okay? So let me know before I round up. Is there any question? Does anybody have any question? Any question on what we have said so far, or maybe on any aspect of IELTS listening? Is there any question? Does anybody have any question? Any question? Any question? Okay. What's your question? You can type your question, or do you want to talk? Some of you like talking. Okay, let's unmute somebody. Let's see. Nora, what is your question? Unmute yourself and talk. What is your question? Okay. What's it called? Matching questions. We'll treat that one another day. Don't worry. We'll probably treat that one next during our next class. Okay? Matching questions. The same approach for multiple choice questions is what we apply when it comes to matching questions. We will be giving paper to write during computer based. Yes, they will give you paper. That one is, it's very likely they will give you paper, but I already told you, don't use that, don't let that paper waste your time. I'm telling you now. Okay, so they will give you paper. That paper is a strategy. Eh? It's a strategy to distract you. Don't use their paper. I'm telling you now. Okay? Somebody says, I have problem dealing with multiple choice questions. The solution to your problem is to practice applying what I've taught today. Okay? You pay close attention to identify what the speaker says about each of the options. Do you understand? And then you use that to eliminate the wrong options. By the time you practice doing that over and over and over, you are going to master multiple choice questions. You understand? Multiple choice, no question type in IELTS listening should give you difficulty. Somebody says, how do we identify different types of nouns? That's basic English. So let me give you the types, the proper nouns. So whenever you see the name of a person, name of a person, name of a person, a country, a continent, a day of the week, an organization. Example of organization is, let's say maybe World Health Organization. I don't want to use World Health Organization. Let me think of, okay, Dangote. No, let me not use Dangote. Unilever. Because Dangote is the name of somebody. Some people can say it's the name of somebody. Unilever. This is an organization. Is a proper noun. Day of the week, Thursday. You write it in capital T. If the answer to your question is Thursday, then you should write capital T. If the answer to your question is Africa or America, or what other continent do we have? South America, Europe, capital E for Europe. Country, if the answer to a question is Tanzania, then you write capital T. If the answer to a question is Rita, then you write capital R. All these are proper nouns. If it's month of the year, for example, if the answer to a question is April, you write capital A. If the answer to a question is a public holiday, maybe Christmas or New Year, you understand? You write capital C. All these are what? Proper nouns. Anytime these things show up as your answer, then you should start them with what? Capital letter. That's it. I think that answers your question about how to identify different types of nouns. Don't bother about different types of nouns. What you should concern about is proper nouns. Those are the ones that have their spelling beginning with capital letter. Proper nouns only. Every other noun type should be written in a normal way. Okay? If you want to avoid this confusion completely, you don't want to worry yourself about this issue of proper noun and everything, just write all your answers as what? Capital letter. Just write all your answers in IELTS listening and IELTS reading. Write them as capital letter. You understand? I have many students that have gotten band 9 in IELTS listening, and I always ask them, I always ask them, how did you write your answers? They will say they use capital letter. All through. Capital letter for everything. So there's no crime in using capital letter. You can just go ahead and use capital letter for everything. That doesn't affect your score. Okay. Let me see. Will the audio play at once or will there be a few seconds to pause? No. The audio, once the audio starts, it's going to continue until the end of the audio. There's nothing like pause. The only time when you hear pause is when they say you have some time to look at question 1 to 5. That's the only time when there will be pause. There's no other pause after that. Okay? So that's it. Somebody said, though you said that during speaking, this is not speaking, this is right listening that we are doing. We are doing listening here. So whatever I said during speaking, it applies for speaking. Okay? I hope that's clear. Whatever I said for speaking applies for speaking. Whatever I'm saying now applies for listening. Okay? Any other question? Is there any other question? Okay, if there is no other question, I guess we're going to wrap it up on that note. So, like I said, expect some exercises to drop in your group anytime soon, and take your exercises seriously. If you have any other thing to ask, just feel free to drop a message in the WhatsApp group. I'm going to respond to it as soon as I can. So thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.